I'm from the city is still. I'm from the city is still.
Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. We have our chief engineer, comes to you from Panama. Please, a nice round of applause for Ricardo. We also have our hotel director from India, that's Nabu. And of course, we have a chair for the master himself. Please, a nice round of applause for Captain Ryan. Originally from Norway, now makes a home in Canada. Thank you, Captain. Well, we have some roaming microphones and we'll open it up for questions in just one moment.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Ryan. I'm the environmental officer on board. A little bit about me. I'm born and raised just south of Boston, Massachusetts. Studied environmental science for 4 years, eventually starting with Royal Caribbean in 2019. I was the intern for the Environmental Stewardship Department down in Miami. Was there for about 1 year, eventually made it on Vision of the Seas sailing in the Caribbean, and I've been here on Ovation since 2022. So if you have any questions for me, please let me know. Thank you.
Hey, hello, I'm Ricardo, the chief engineer on board. I'm coming from Panama. I started my career at sea in 2002 after the marine school, graduated as a marine engineer. I started working on small cargo ships, very small, so I was getting seasick every time. So then I started working for Royal Caribbean in 2006 on board Radiance of the Seas, and yeah, I've been part of Royal Caribbean since then. I joined the Ovation team in 2023. So any questions about the engines, let me know.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nibu Said. I'm the hotel director. I come from a very small village in the southern part of India. After my studies, I did my studies, meaning undergraduate and postgraduate in hotel management. Then I work as part of my studies. I work for a few hotels in Switzerland, and that was part of the training. And then I joined Royal Caribbean in 1990, and that was my first real job, And so this is my 35th year with Royal Caribbean, and yeah, no, still enjoying it. And yeah, any questions you might have, we'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Ryan from the bridge. No mermaids or any sea monsters around. So I've been in the company for over 30 years, just like Nibu here, and been on lots of different, thank you, lots of different classes of ships, and Ovation of the Seas is my favorite, and you are my favorite too. Thank you for coming. I guess we are ready to get going.
Where
are you from?
Australia, yeah. My question is to Captain Ryan. I noticed when we sailed up to Airlie Beach, we were a long way offshore outside the reef, so presumably you had to sail through a passage through the reef. How difficult was that, and did you need to have a pilot on board?
We do have a pilot on board, a reef pilot, and they're part of the team, and that is mandatory everywhere in the world. We're going in and out from ports to have local pilot on board. So with our team and the pilot himself, we are navigating through the barrier reef. No problem at all. A couple of crocodiles out here, but all worked out well. Thank you for the question.
So I watch Below Deck all the time.
Oh my God. Good for you.
I love that show too, I do.
So we anchored with the 25 meters of water on the keel, and knowing that we had pretty much strong winds coming and also a little bit of current coming, we shackled out seven shackles in the water. Thank you, Brad.
Is a fast cruise ship?
Well, I believe it is quite fast. I think we can reach top speed of 23 knots. I don't know if Captain, you've been in a faster than that, probably.
If you're homesick, yes.
How do you manage the corrosion of salt on the hardware?
Oh, okay. There are two different methods. We have basically the paint that we have in the hold is anti-fouling paint, and we have our cathodic protection, it's called. So it's thousand of anodes around the hold that are basically renewed every 5 years. So that's how we fight the grow into the hold, because make the ship slower as well. Yeah.
And the team Sydney and Singapore. My question is either for the other Ryan and Nabi. We all enjoy the wonderful food here on board. No doubt there's a lot of leftovers. What do you do with them?
We have a waste reduction program on board. To put in perspective, let's say 10 years ago, our waste percentage versus production was about 25%, but now it's down to 7-8%, which is as good as it gets, because we cannot take the chance of running out or risk anything, right? What do we do with it? I mean, it gets separated, the waste, and it goes down through the pulpers, through the incinerator. The food waste is, pulped into small pieces, and we are allowed to discharge it. Fish food, basically, off certain distance from shore. And then bottles, aluminium, metals, they all go for recycling imports. And yeah, that's what we do with it. Chief, anything you would like to add?
Well, for the food waste, we have our food waste shredder, where from the infeed units are called on every galley. All the food waste is under vacuum, taken down to our system, what is going to be grinded off and going to our tanks.
I wanted to know the law that governs the vessel, and if someone were to commit a criminal act on board, how would you deal with that? Do you have a lockup, or would you put them off the vessel?
Do you have something in mind?
Not right now. I want to understand the answer first.
It's a criminal act, eh? Yeah. We rarely throw people overboard.
Good to hear.
Yes, we do have a brig on board if we have a problem. It doesn't happen very often, fortunately, but we do have a lot of security, and all of the 1,600 crew and officers on board are actually surveillance. So we know pretty much what's going on all the time and action fast on it if something does happen. So you're secured all the time.
Okay, and is it the law of the US that you abide by within the vessel?
The law?
The
Yeah.
law of the United States?
Yeah, we are under Bahamian flag. So it'll be on a Bahamian flag.
Thank you so much.
Looking after the waste management, are you looking after sustainability goals? Like, what is it that your role encompasses on the ship?
So both of those things is kind of incorporated in what I do. A lot of it is the record keeping and compliance side of the waste management. We're a huge cruise ship that we generate plenty of different waste streams, so my job is to oversee that and ensure that we're accounting for everything in the associated record book for whatever the waste stream is. But on the energy efficiency and compliance side of things, also I have to do a lot of data consolidation with fuel usage, energy output of the ship, that sort of thing, which ultimately is managed by our shore side, but I'm the one who has to do the shipboard data compiling for that. Yeah.
It's Lawrence from Sydney. Got a question. I've asked this question 3 times and I got 3 different answers. So I'm going to ask it to the officials. The food you actually getting on board, does it come from the US or it's actually locally sourced? Because I've got coming from the US entirely. The second answer was from Australia, and the third one was half-half.
All those answers are right, but I'll explain it properly. Like when we left Sydney, the day we left Sydney on the 23rd, we had 7 40-foot containers that came from US, and we had 14 containers that came from Australia local, right? So what does this mean? I mean, most of the food products are sourced locally. Fruits, vegetables, short shelf life items, you know, such as eggs and things like that. It's all sourced from Australia itself, what we call local sourcing. But then again, dairy, meat, you know, I mean, the frozen items comes from US, you know, so it's half and half, or maybe 1/3 and 2/3, you know, that's what happens here.
My question is, why are some of the staterooms so small?
The main reason is you're not supposed to stay in the stateroom, right? I mean, you know, that's the main reason. But plus, I mean, this is a cruise ship, right? I mean, we have limitations how much we can build. I mean, you know, how big that can be also. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, yeah. Thank you for your comment.
And when do you do your major halt? How long the ship is not in service?
Okay, the whole engine team is around 120 crew members between engine officers and ratings, right? So for example, the engine department, we have second engineers on duty currently in the engine control room and engine spaces. The electrical team, they work on a day shift, and we have the refrigerator team as well. The major depends of the job. When it comes to the main engines, for example, the overhauls are happening every 12,000 hours, and that is happening on board. We do carry all the special tools and spare parts needed to do the job while in operation. And other maintenance on propulsion equipment like the acid pod stabilizers, bow thrusters will happen every 5 years during our mandatory dry docks.
How many other Royal Caribbean cruise ships have you cruised on? Commandeered.
How many cruise ships in our fleet have you sailed on?
How many Royal Caribbean ships I have been on? I forgot to count before I got here. A lot. I've been at least 10 or probably more. And on most of the itineraries around the world. So yeah, there's quite a few of them actually. Started with the first one I was on board was actually the Sun Viking. If you ever heard of that one, it was a very long time ago. So that was the first ship that came out for Royal Caribbean was actually in Sogn, Norway. And after that, we built the Sun Viking and the Nordic Princess. Yeah. So I've been on most of those as well. So yeah, I guess more than 10 ships. It was built for both actually. So good question, very good question. Built in Germany, 2016, and she is built for any condition actually. We are going to Alaska with this ship, and we're going to tropical as we are here, and everywhere.
Oh, yeah, who's driving the boat?
Who's driving the boat, Captain?
Oh, I knew that was coming. Nobody. When I left the bridge, I just put the keys down and said, okay, good luck with that. No, we have a fantastic team on the bridge right now. It is first officer, Bertha. She's from Panama. She's navigating the ship with the second officer and 2 lookouts. Fantastic team.
When being in 2 days ago in Queensland, Ariel Beach, why you did stop next to Queensland Ariel Beach? Why you employ some people else to drive us to there?
So why didn't we dock? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, why you just simply stop next to Ariel Beach?
Very, 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 very good question. If we do, we will never get out again. No, we don't have any enough water there, and there's no facility for us to dock in there. So that's why we have to tender. Before we were actually anchoring quite closer, but they have changed the harbor, so we are not allowed to come up there anymore. We have to sit where we are. So that's why it takes a little bit longer to get in there. So hopefully you enjoyed it anyway.
My name's Darren. Question for the captain. Just wondering if you've been ever in any kind of big storms or conditions that you've actually been worried about the safety of the ship, or in general, speak to some of the worst conditions you've sailed in.
Worst condition, okay. No, I'm never worried about things because we're planning things very well. We have to plan for the worst all the time, and we are 5 days into the weather forecast at least, and they're looking for any low pressures or anything that can build up very strong waves and winds, of course. Ship can take a lot of impact, but we don't want that because you don't want to walk on the walls. And the worst one I've ever been through was in the Japan Sea, actually, not with this ship, it was a different ship. And we had about 14, 15 meters sea swell. Yeah. We have to ask everybody to go to the cabins, just lay down, tidy yourself up. And then 12 hours later we were done. So we don't do that very often. We are planning ahead, and we are going away from storm centers. So that's the way it is. Thank you.
How deep does the water need to be for the boat to float?
How much water on the keel? 3 meters, and then we are floating. 3 meters under the keel. That's most of the ports we are sitting in. It's 3 meters under the keel.
Only 3 meters of water needs to be under the.
But we have to come very slow when we do that into port. So we have usually 20, 30 meters until we are close to the dock. So if you hear a lot of vibration, that's probably what it is.
Hi, my name is Craig from Sydney. I've got a two-part question. First is fresh water and the other one is fuel. So from a freshwater perspective, how much water do you carry on the boat? And if you need to fill a swimming pool, do you fill it from that freshwater supply? And the other question is, how much fuel does it take to power the boat on an 8 or 7 hour journey like we've been on?
Yeah, okay, for the potable water on board, we are constantly producing water while we are at sea. We can carry up to 4,200 around cubic meters of potable water. Our consumption goes around to 1,400, 1,500 cubic meters a day. So normally when we go alongside, we ensure that we have enough on our tanks to supply the demand during those hours. And then once we are out, we start the production again. We do have 3 reverse osmosis and 2 freshwater evaporators on board for the water production. When it comes to the fuel, we fuel every time in Sydney. How much do we need for the cruise? Well, it depends. For example, on this cruise, we are using around 700 metric tons combined heavy fuel on marine gas oil. So that is approximately the quantity that we're going to refuel tomorrow. Tomorrow, very important, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a question. The question is, what are you gonna do when a pirate crashes a ship?
Oh, what are you going to do, Captain, when the pirate comes to the ship?
Oh! When the pirate comes, are you planning something here? I have actually been through a pirate attack, believe it or not. Have you watched the movie Captain Phillips? Yeah, it was not too far from that. Long time ago, I was an able-bodied seaman, and we did get attacked by pirates, and that was on the west coast of Africa. And I was the one that met the first pirate at 3 o'clock in the morning on the deck. Yeah, that's what I said too. So he had to, unfortunately, leave the ship in a hurry. I was helping him a little bit. And after that, we had 20 pirates coming on board. They just through small anchors over the railings and started to climb on board. And then by that time I was on the bridge on the cargo ship and sounded the fire alarm for to alert the whole crew to come on the bridge, and then we had to start to deal with pirates. So if you're taking another cruise, I can tell you more about it.
The question on everyone's mind, Captain, though, is did the pirates have an eye patch and a parrot? No?
Yeah, well, that could happen.
All right.
Gentlemen, my name's Beth. I'm from Sydney. I'm a volunteer president for a really tiny charity called AussieD. And I was wondering if you've got any say in what the port do with the cans, because 10,000 of these is $1,000 if donated through Return and Earn. Recommend everybody go donate 10 cans today or tomorrow when you get off the ship. So I was just wondering if you've got any input as to what the port does and how I could contact the port to get some donations through cans.
Well, we're landing all of our recycling to Cleanaway as the vendor. We can't get any of that money. I think it's in the contract, so yeah, give them a ring, I guess is your best bet.
What the lifespan of a vessel like this is and what happens to it once it's decommissioned.
What is the expected lifespan of the ship, and what do we do with them after?
Lifespan of the ship, well, that depends on. Normally, about 25 to 30 years before they go into a secondary cruise line and owned by us. We go to dry dock to do refurbishing every 5 years, and the ship is going into dry dock in Singapore next year. And so, yeah, about 25, 30 years before you have to upgrade entirely.
I'm from the city. I'm from the city. The city is. I'm from the city. The city is good.